We often have this duality in our architecture, so that it isn't about one thing, it isn't about one view or one exposure. It's about multiple things throughout the house. So what we tried to do with this project was really capitalize on the view towards the water, but at the same time capitalize on the calmness of the woods behind the property and create this language that goes back and forth. My name is Omar Gandhi of Omar Gandhi Architects, based in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada, and Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
And I'm Jordan Rice, an associate with Omar Gandhi Architects, and this is Rockbound. So we are in Nova Scotia, Canada, in an area called the Apoptogen Peninsula. It is a kind of rocky granite outcrop into St. Margaret's Bay, which feeds into the Atlantic Ocean. So the house itself sits parallel to the ocean, and it looks directly across the bay to the famous Nova Scotia landmark Peggy's Cove.
The program itself was for a couple with plenty of room for guests and really a major focus on entertaining. And the brief was really to take advantage of the incredible views. It was intended to fall into the woods and really blend in with the rocks and be as unobtrusive as possible.
As you arrive at the house, you're presented with a moment of verticality where the stair rises up to the second volume, but you're denied the view to the water. Forcing you to reorient yourself and quietly come into the space where you arrive at the kitchen and dining, which provides dramatic views out to the water, and then you move into the living space, which is all about the view and taking in the ocean. The lower level is primarily comprised of the functional elements of the house, as well as the guest wing. And then as you rise up through the stairs, where we have our office space, as well as the master bedroom and ensuite. So as you progress through the living room, you exit out onto a large deck that is covered from the elements to try and extend the season and the enjoyment of the space throughout the year. From the upper deck, you descend down to the lower level where there's a fire pit that sits amongst the rocks. Then as you descend down onto the rocks in front of the house, you're presented with a much more dramatic view of the house. And you see the elevated private wing of the house sitting up above the rocks, taking in the landscape below.
As much as this house was really about blending in with nature, it's also a place to really take in the extreme nature of the environment. The intense wind, snow, harsh rain, even fog, and intense storms that happen. So it's really this incredible shelter perched on the edge of the landscape that looks out at the sort of extreme climates that we get here in Nova Scotia.
The exterior material palette was about kind of telling a story of time, allowing the facade to gray and weather and blend in with the rocks and nature surrounding it. The use of Corten steel was an accent, but as well would tell a story about the different climatic conditions around the house, from the ocean side to the driveway side, which have very different environmental impacts. Durability was a key driving factor in the choice of materials, So using eastern white cedar, which is kind of a common material around here that has natural properties to resist the weather and has been used on fishing shacks and other structures that have lasted for hundreds of years in this area. The ruggedness of the environment kind of dictated a response that was also rugged on the exterior to blend in. And so when we moved to the inside of the house, it was really important to balance that with soft textures and bring in a warmth through furniture selection and fabrics that would really give it a much more comfortable and relaxed vibe as a counterbalance.
At the center of the space towards the water is a large fireplace that's two-sided that really creates a sense of warmth throughout the year, even in the coldest months.
What I'm most proud about of this house is how it fits within the landscape. It feels like it belongs, from the textural quality, the coloring, and how it matches the landscape. It feels like it was always meant to be here, sitting on top of the rocks.
For me, I'm really proud that the interior really almost project or magnify the environment. It's truly honest in the way that it represents both climate and the environment.
My favorite part of the house is when you arrive at the primary bedroom and you're transported to a new environment where you're hanging out above the rocks and you have no visual cue of the landscape below.
If there was a word to describe this home, for me, it's about stability. Both the view and the way that that view is projected through a faceted lens-like frame really transports you across the bay.
This video is brought to you by 10, our debut hardcover book celebrating 10 issues of the local project. 10 unites the very best projects from the first 10 issues of the publication into a beautiful single volume. With over 400 pages of architecture and design from both leading and emerging creatives, the hardcover book takes readers on a curated and meditative journey. The premium paper stock of the book means 10 is an enduring addition to a coffee table or library to be enjoyed for years to come. With worldwide delivery available, have 10 delivered directly to your door. Head to the link in the video description to purchase your copy now and use the code BOOK5 at checkout for a 5% discount.